Now it's time for our Perspective guest on the programme. We're going to honour on Perspective today a woman who was one of the leading activists of the US civil rights movement, Maya Angelou. Now, Angelou, of course, the writer and poet who published in all a series of autobiographies as well as books of essays, poetry, plays, even making films and television shows over a 50-year period. She passed away, though, in 2014. But she worked, of course, alongside, during her time, both Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, a real icon then for the US black community and beyond. Well, in order to celebrate her life, I'm joined on the programme by a man who knows her work far more than most. Santiago Artozqui is her translator, translating many of her works into French. This is the latest book. The book in English is called I Shall Not Be Moved, now in French as well, Rien ne me fera plier. In all, he's translated more than 70 novels, short stories, collections and biographies. Thanks very much for coming in and talking to us on the programme today. Let's talk a bit about Maya Angelou, first of all. Right back to her childhood. She had a very difficult childhood, didn't she? She was even raped by her mother's boyfriend.
Yes, she was when she was 8. And then she spent 6 years without talking to anybody but her brother. Mm. And then she talked again. And she says, you see her a lot on the internet, you see her talking, and she says that when she found her voice, she couldn't stop talking anymore, and she had to say things, and she did.
Yeah, she certainly did. I mean, that's the way she went on in life. As you say, she became a dancer, she became a novelist, she turned to writing those autobiographies as well, and then she really flourished, didn't she, when she met Martin Luther King as well?
Oh yes, that was at the beginning of the 60s, and she was 32, and she met him in New York, and she was attracted by his ideas, and of course, as anybody would be. Yeah. And she spent all the 60s, you know, in this civil rights movement. She met Malcolm X. Mm. She married Vuz Make, was a friend of Mandela and who had fought with Mandela in South Africa. So, I mean, she was very into the civil rights movement and into the emancipation of the black people. Mm. And she was really struck by Martin Luther King's death in 68.
And, yeah, that really marked her, didn't it, his death?
Yes, yes. And this particular book was published in much later in 90, but you still feel, you know, all this history she brings with her in every work she does, actually.
And what do you think it was like for her being a woman at that time? Because obviously, you know, we all hear about Martin Luther King, we all hear about Malcolm X, but being very central to it and being a woman at the time must have been particularly difficult.
It was difficult, and I mean, it's been documented, because women had to face a double segregation. They had to face the racial segregation, and they had to face the, being a woman, which was really hard in the 60s, everywhere, and in the United States too. So it was a hell of a fight.
Mm. And where did she find the time? I mean, the amount of civil rights work that she did, the amount that she published as well. I mean, it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, she was obviously gifted, because every time she did something, she was successful. I mean, she did Calypso. She became a kind of a queen of Calypso. She did movies, well, not movies, but television. And she was successful too. Her first book was successful. Her first collection of poems was successful. So obviously she could do things fast and well. And I think she had something to say, and that's the important thing. Mm. She had a voice, and she had something to say, and she knew how to say it.
Tell us about your work. I mean, it must be quite fascinating, really, knowing the historical context of what she wrote and taking that material and having the job of translating it.
Well, I must say I was very proud when Anne, which is the publisher at Segers, told me she wanted me to translate. At first it was just one poem for a children's book, And then it was the first collection, and then came the project of translating the whole collection. And she spent ages trying to get the rights. And when she finally did it, well, now I'm in the midst of it.
Yeah.
And
how much have you translated so far, and how much have you still got to do?
I'm finishing the third one, and out of 7. Right. So about half of it, because the last ones are shorter. But we're not publishing in chronological order.
No. The thing I love about the book is it has the poems in English on this side and in French on the other side as well. What's it like translating poetry? Because that must be particularly difficult, because it's got to have a sort of sense of rhythm to it, at least, hasn't it, as well, in a completely different language?
Yes, you've got to take care of the rhythm, and especially in this kind of collection, you've got to take care of the visual aspect of it, because the reader wouldn't understand if he saw a very short poem on one page and a very long translation on the other page. So you've got to combine. I often say it's like a kind of Sudoku. You've got constraints, and you've got to make it work and find a way to make it work. Unlike Sudoku, there's not always a solution. So sometimes your solution is a little bit wacky, but I mean,
it must be very solitary, though, isn't it? I mean, presumably you're sitting on your own, working very much on your. You know, it's not a part of a team, is it?
Well, there's 2 parts in the job. There's a first part that is solitary, and then there's a second part which is a dialogue between me and the publisher. And we go, we read every poem, we read it aloud, and we talk, and she asks me, are you sure that's the right meaning? Are you sure that's the right word to convey this meaning? And it's table tennis, really. And, well, there comes a moment you say stop and you publish the thing.
Yeah. And do you feel the pressure? Because, you know, with the works of someone like Maya Angelou, you've got to get it right, haven't you? Every little phrase, every little indication has to really convey what she was trying to get across.
Yes, as much as possible. But yes, there's a kind of pressure. Then again, it's my work, so I mean, every time I translate a book, I know lots of people are gonna read it, and if there's things that are not right, it's gonna come back to me. So I try to make it as right as I can. But it's pressure, but not that much pressure, really. It goes with the work.
It goes with the work, yeah. And you don't only just do English-French, do you?
I mostly do English-French, but I do some Spanish too. Actually, Spanish
just
is
to
my...
add in the mix.
Yes, Spanish is my first language, really. So I learned first Spanish, and then French, and then English. But I mostly work in English.
Well, I loved reading some of the books, some of the translations. My French is not 100%, but it's okay, and it was lovely being able to flip through it and read some of it. So thank you very much for coming in and telling us about it, and about, of course, more about Maya Angelou herself as well. Santiago Artozqui, her translator, then the latest book, Rien ne me fera plier. Look out for it. Thanks.
Thanks a lot.